So I just bought this skid steer. It's a Bobcat T590. And the guy I bought it from redid a bunch of stuff on it. He repainted it and changed some fluids and filters. But he didn't do a handful of things that I thought he would have done. Primarily this front attachment plate here. The pins and bushings are really bad. I'm hoping those are salvageable, so I'm gonna address that today and a few other things. I mean, he did a pretty nice job on the paint. Not crazy about the color, but it's whatever. I also want to change out the final drive fluid because I'm not sure if he did that. It's kind of dumb. You have to take off the track and the sprocket to get to the drain and fill plugs on this model, but it is what it is. But I'm gonna address this front attachment plate first. So I went with the budget-friendly Super Chinese pins and bushings kit for this. I couldn't beat the price. It was like $180, and I'm not really using this skid steer commercially or anything, so if I keep them greased, I'm hoping I'll get a lot of life out of them. I'll find out. So I went with that, and then I did get the actual Bobcat gear lube for those final drives. I didn't think I should skip out on that. So it's as bad as I thought. You can see it's getting pretty sharp right there. So my new pin, when I put it in, this side's relatively tight, but then when you get to here, you could see how wallered out that is. And it was just rocking around in there, getting bad. So the other side's pretty much the same amount of waller. So to try to fix this, I'm gonna have a little bit of time. I'm just gonna go in with my welder and just start putting some weld in there and then die grinder and just get it as close as I can. See what I can do there. And then back here, after I fix these, I am curious to see how bad it is behind there, because that is just, after I have it all apart like this, you can really tell how much slop is in there. That's pretty bad. But on one good note, these are pretty good, the cylinder bushings. Well, I got new bushings. I'm gonna replace them, but they're not wore through yet, so that's good. Both of those are decent. But I'm gonna put some weld on this, grind it out, and bring you guys back and see how close I can get that. So that actually wasn't too bad. You can see I got a more round hole than it was. And this side, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. This side actually doesn't go in all the way, but I'm gonna leave it like that, and then when I'm ready to put it on, I'm gonna just smack it in to make it that much tighter. I mean, I can't make it any worse. It is what it is. And then this side goes in just barely. And it's pretty tight. There's a little gap there, but I'm done messing with it. It's a lot better than it was. So I'm gonna change the bushings in these cylinders. There's actually, it's missing, I think there's supposed to be a grease seal on the outside of those too. I'm gonna change those, put these two pins back in, and then tear into that disaster and see if I could flop it down the other way. These are the grease seals. There's one on each side that it didn't have on there. They probably got wore out or they were never in there. I don't know. So those are as tight as they're gonna be now. Those are, I'm happy with those. Got the bolts back in. So now all the play, there's a little bit up top on the top of those cylinders. I don't know if there's bushings in the top that you can replace or not, but I'm gonna fix these bottom ones because it's hard to tell. There's just so much play down here. It's hard to tell if there's any coming from up there. It's gonna be bad. So let me tear into those. I got both those pins out and the plates lowered there, and look how bad these pins were, these tapered pins. I mean, that is crazy. So those were let go way too long. You can see they were just kind of wallering out. And the outside of that, this sleeve here is pretty wallered out. The other side's in similar condition. And I was losing pretty much all hope. I was considering I probably had to get a whole new, whatever you call it, weld-in bushing. I'd have to cut all that out and weld them in. And then I realized that the wear bushings were still in there. You could see I was peeling up this one, but this one came out, but I couldn't tell that just because they were so, it was in really bad shape. And from this just mashing it in there, I didn't think those were still there. So this side came out easier, and you can tell it's bad, but it was still in there. So I'm hoping, if I put the new bushings in there, I'm hoping enough is salvageable. The whole point is to save. I can get an aftermarket whole attach plate for like $1,500 or $1,600. I'm trying to avoid that, kind of on a budget here. So that is the whole goal. Anything's going to be better than it was. So I'm going to try to see if this is still salvageable. The good part is these, can't really see, but the arm pins that are the tapered part goes into, those are in really good shape. Those don't have any play in them at all. So all the wear took place on this attachment plate, which I guess is good. I mean, I don't know how much worse these could have gotten. I mean, it was almost down to the bolt there. So those are really bad. And actually, so I didn't get the right, I thought I ordered the right pins and bushings, but I guess I didn't. That's kind of what I get for ordering the Chinesium ones. So these, the cylinder pins and bushings are right, but these are too big. You can tell they're too long, and they're a little bit bigger diameter. So I gotta wait until I already ordered the right ones. I'm waiting until those get here to hope to see if those holes are still salvageable. I think I can make it work. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for those to get here, I'm gonna take these tracks off and change the oil in those final drives. I've been a little worried about that. So it's kind of silly how I have to take off the track just to change the drive fluid. It's the fill and drain plug are behind the sprocket here. And most models, I know they updated this one at least. Most of them, they have the plugs right in the face. It's a whole different sprocket. The sprocket bolts on back here, and then the whole drive motor face is different. So I don't know when they updated that, but I guess I got the unlucky model. But at least I can check out the undercarriage better and make sure that's all good. And it says in the service manual to change this drive fluid every time you change a track, which that seems kind of silly to me too, because the amount of times you change the track, or whenever the track's off, I think it said, I'll have to read it again, but it's not a very consistent way of changing your fluid. I thought they would have a better service time than that. So it's also a dumb design because that sprocket traps, the way it goes around, it traps all that mud and rock and crap in there. So at least they changed that. Like I said, the newer ones, the sprocket bolts on the flange back there. So that's kind of dumb. But I also find it strange that the plugs are opposite from each other. The other one's down there and the top one's right there, but they're at like, I don't know, 2 o'clock or something. So I thought it would be up and down. That doesn't move, just this outer flange is what rotates. Hopefully that seal doesn't leaking. So I'm curious to see how much is in here. I'm really hoping there's something in there because I don't want it running dry, and who knows if it's leaking or whatever. And also, the service manual says that this takes 2 ounces of fluid, which sounds crazy. Everything I see online says it takes 6 ounces, which still doesn't sound like a lot, but I can't imagine this. I don't know why it says 2 ounces. That seems silly, but I'm gonna drain it and see. Hopefully there's something in here. Yep, completely dry. That's great. I mean, it makes sense. Why would anybody change this when they gotta take the whole track off? Hopefully that didn't cause any damage to the final drive, because that gets expensive. Who knows how long. And then another thing is, I'm hoping I'm going to fill it up. I hope it doesn't have a leak. I mean, obviously it leaked out at some point, or I don't know if it burns up or what, but I still have the bottom plug out. I want to put some in and see if it, I don't know, see what it looks like when it comes out. I have extra. Bobcat sent me double my order of this gear lube, so I have a little bit extra. It's pretty thick. Like I said, I think I'm going to put, this is 8 ounces, and I heard if you put too much, it could damage something in there. I think I'm going to put like 6 ounces in. That's what I've been reading online. Okay, so I got the oil changed in both drive motors. Got the tracks back on. All the rest of the undercarriage look pretty good, so that's nice. All the rollers are nice and tight, and they felt pretty good. I ended up putting, like I said, the manual said 2 ounces. I was reading online 6 ounces. The bottle has 8. There's a lot of, I couldn't find an accurate answer, but I ended up putting in right around 3 ounces. It actually seemed accurate that it was about 2 ounces, because when I was getting close to 3 ounces, it started like air bubbles kept coming up, like it was almost full. So I don't know. I put about 3 ounces in. I feel pretty good about that. But anyways, I got the right pins and bushings for this. So these ones look like they match of what's left of the old pins. and then the bushings too. So after I got the right bushings, I'm feeling a lot better about these, whatever you call them, the bosses or whatever. So this is the right bushing, and it fits pretty snug in there. So I don't think the inside is worn as bad as I thought. It's just this outside lip, you can see is kind of rounded off. So I might have to, I probably don't have to, but I'm gonna do the same thing I did on those top cylinder pins. I'm gonna put some weld around here and die grind it out, because the bushing will fit in there nice, but I have a grease seal that is not gonna fit in there nice, and I kind of want that to stay in there how it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna build this up, die grind it, get it as best I can, and then bring you guys back and show you how it looks. Here's the grease seal to show you guys what I mean. This is the bushing goes in, and then this grease seal sits, I think, flush with this boss. It's supposed to sit out here. So right now, you can see it's got all kinds of slop in there. So that's why I want to put some weld on there and grind it out so this fits in there nice right on the edge. I think it'll work for what it is here. I got it a lot closer. It's tight, but I should be able to pop these seals in there. I bet that grease seal doesn't last very long. Probably gets chewed up pretty quickly, but it's in there.